2,500 feet. If you could explain what the preliminary viewpoint is on
Yes, sir. We're using the city GIS to try and identify all of the I-1 and I-2 parcels, and then look at all the required setbacks, places of worship, daycare center, schools, parks, libraries, and residential lots, and trying to program them in and then use the mapping tools in GIS to say how many I-1 or I-2 do we have that would meet the 2,500 setback requirement. Right now, it's still a work in process, but it would appear the answer is 0. And we can play with the GIS to say, what if you did it at 1,500, or what if you did it at 1,000, or what if it was 2,500 feet from a school, but 1,500 from a church. So now that we have all the criteria built, we're able to go in and massage the data. A couple of things that I think still need to be decided. I don't want to put him on the spot. I haven't even ran it by Mr. Plato, but one of the issue is, should we be mapping for city or for properties outside of the city of Taylor? Think about a church or a school or a house on the opposite side of Pennsylvania or the opposite side of Inkster. Right now, we're only mapping to Taylor properties. Don't quote this number, but at 1,000 feet, not counting properties outside of the city of Taylor, there might be upwards of 100 I-1 and I-2 that might meet a 1,000 setback requirement. I know that wasn't asked of us. I took the 1,000 only because the current medical marijuana ordinance had 1,000 feet in it. So it was really just, hey, now that I got this cool toy that we can play with, what would happen at 1,000 feet? So still a working process. Don't want to commit to the exact 113, but I think we have some discussions to be had relative to 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,500, number one, and look at the reality of what does it mean to any of the established setback entities, churches, parks, schools, if they're not located in the city of Taylor.
At the Planning Commission, Mr. Fisher brought that point up. He mentioned that, well, how can we vote on it? We don't know how many. So I made the motion and asked for 2,500, 2,000, and 1,500. I didn't go as low as 1,000. The other issue I have is that some of the different marijuana facilities only allowed an I-1 or only allowed an I-2. I think all the facilities should be allowed in both of those sections. That way, that's a whole different thing. You got to separate it from that too.
Yeah, right now we're just doing, are you I-1 or I-2, and are you 1,000 or 2,500? We didn't.
I'm not sure.
Again, this is just to get us going in the conversation.
And my point.
That's probably going to be a recommendation.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch on it rather quickly that not only had been working on to give an answer back to the Planning Commission, but in general, the council, we had postponed the item until the next meeting. I think what's imperative now is for that next posting for the Planning Commission to have that public hearing occur. Right now, that has not been posted. And then talking with the chairman, I believe with the data that now has been provided, the Planning Commission should be able to go forward with that next meeting. No guarantee that the Planning Commission will report out, but certainly I'd like to see that meeting scheduled, and that way we can communicate when the next public hearing will be. Councilman Grayhair.
So is there a GIS report for those parameters? Is there one been created?
There's a map that can be printed that I could provide to you. Yes, like I said, I want to say that it's sort of preliminary and that we're still tweaking it, but wanted to have a high-level detail, and at 2,500 the answers seem clear, and we can whittle it down to 1,000 or 15 or 2. But I can give you the map that I'm using to base my comments on. Yes.
Chairman.
Councilman.
Mr. Johnson's on the Planning Commission. So what was it that they asked for? How many feet?
2,500, 2,000, 1,500. We didn't go as low as 1,000 because I knew that would be too many.
So can you base your report on those numbers so we don't have?
2,000 and 1,500? Okay.
All right. Any further open business from the council, elected officials? Any open business from the public? Please come forward.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here on behalf of Representative Jamie Thompson. And she just wanted me to come down today and give you guys an update on what our office has been doing and managing. And basically, we're trying to be as involved in the community as we can. And, I just wanted to let you guys all know that our office is always open. We're always open to your calls and to hear what we can help with the community. And actually, I know it was brought up earlier, it seems like there already is an issue that we can kind of help with those properties that you're having trouble with. But there's just a couple of points that she wanted me to share with you guys in the phone meeting and try to keep it a little brief for you. One thing that we're working on, kind of our main focus right now is delivering relief to our residents and our constituents. We know groceries are getting more expensive. The economic situation for a lot of people around here isn't the greatest right now. And we're trying to find solutions that will pretty much help as many people as possible while also being fiscally responsible. And that's why we're supporting keeping in place the current legislation that is going to go into effect here pretty soon unless there are changes made to it where we pretty much across the state of Michigan there will be an automatic income tax cut for our residents because of the amount of money that becomes available in the budget because we're actually $9 billion in surplus right now in the budget, and there was legislation passed back in 2015 that calls for an automatic income tax cut once you start getting to a certain rate of inflation, and we have so much money in the budget. And now there's some talk of instead of letting that go into effect, that we would instead send out a one-time check for $180 as opposed to an actual tax cut that will be permanent. And we're actually, as far as what we've heard for the $180 one-time check that they're looking at sending out, we're not even sure yet from the IRS if that's going to be taxed or not. So we're just looking to find solutions that are going to benefit as many people in the community as possible, and that will actually have a tangible effect. So that's kind of what our main goal is right now, just making sure that we can find relief for our residents. And I said I'm here for all you guys, and that goes for everyone here as well. All the taxpayers and residents, our office is always open to you guys. So if you have any concerns, please feel free to reach out, and I'll be around after the meeting if anyone here wants to talk to me. And I could just approach you guys real quick. I'll give you some of my cards.
Thank you very much. I will note, since I was actually there when that law passed, our tax was supposed to be rolled back to 3.9% back in 2014, if not for the legislation that was put into place that capped it at 4.25. Next person that would like to come up.
Speaking on the board of Carter Oaks, talking about our road dedication, I know we've tried to submit a few times, just trying to understand what that process is, because I feel, I'm a lifelong resident. I feel like we're the only subdivision in the past 30 years that's been